Hello guys, welcome back. Blessed be. I had a strange stream last night. I figured I'd share it with you guys because you guys are pretty good at it. Now, we could all discount this stream because I played a marathon session of Bendy and the Ink Machine on the other channel yesterday, and that was like 2.5 hours or so. And given all the other time I've played it, maybe my brain was just sorting it out and giving me kind of like a happy ending. Because there are parts in that game I don't like. I think are like a little too violent. And if I think it's too violent, yeah, there's this one part in the one game where when you first encounter this one opponent, and I felt pity for him because he couldn't even walk properly, you have to beat him to death with a lead pipe, and I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, yeah, like, this game is a little too violent, dude. I wouldn't pick on someone that, like he bursts out of a poster and then he falls on the ground and he's like walking, like lurching towards you. I'm like, I normally would not hit anyone like that. Why would I hit anyone like that? I mean, yeah, he's after you, enemy, but I felt compassion towards him, and then you have to beat him to death with a pipe before it kills you, and it's like, oh. Ugh. So the dream might have been my mind compensating for that. I don't mind violence in a game. I love shooters and everything, but against capable enemies, not against enemies you kind of feel sorry for. And I feel a lot of sorrow and pity for all the enemies in that game, so I really don't like hitting them. Anyhow, in the dream, I'm playing a claw machine. Now, I might already have the dream mixed up because I did not record this first thing upon waking. But if you've never seen them, they're also called crane machines or scoops or whatever, but you have a joystick that you control, and it controls a crane that drops down into an area and picks up your prize if you're good enough. Now this one, the first one was filled with all this jewelry, all this beautiful jewelry, and I think it was like actual jewelry, nothing like I could afford. It was like, if it was diamonds, it was actually diamonds and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's pretty, and I'm like vaguely happy to be playing it, but more because it's a claw machine. Because I was like, I really wouldn't care to get all these prizes. What am I gonna do with a really beautiful, expensive piece of jewelry? Wear it around the house. It's just not me. You guys know I dress like Willie Nelson. So I'm playing that, and it kind of gave me this impression of wealth and power. And then somehow the dream cuts in. I don't know if the gentleman in the dream came then and was pushing me out of the way on that machine, like kind of trying to compete, or if he had come in on the second dream. But I go into like a second part of the dream, or like suddenly in front of another claw machine, and this one is huge. It's just like if you would go to New York City and you'd see like a whole block of windows for Christmas. It was that big. And inside this machine, and everything's in gold tones, by the way, there are these like singing puppets, and they're like the only thing that's like not in gold tones. And they're the one I pick up is like a kind of like a grandfather figure, and he kind of like leads off this display of these singing puppets, and he's kind of dressed kind of barber quartet style, like a blue and white striped shirt that they were running down, and a red bow tie, and he was really cute looking puppet. And I was very careful as I got the claw in place and then put it down, because I'm like, I don't want to hurt him, like thinking like he's a living puppet. And I knew somehow through some process, as you pick these puppets up, they stop being these magical singing animatronic puppet things, and they revert it into a plush. I don't know. And I got his plush because I was successful and I was happy. And I wasn't sure, like, I didn't, like, extrapolate. I wasn't like, if I put him back in the machine, he'll be alive again. But this thing was so huge, I was walking down towards the other one, and, like, it's so in, like, his kind of, like, boardwalk area. And I'm gonna go play the other side, but there was this gentleman with had gold, goldish blonde hair, like more like tending towards gold than blonde. I mean, not like gold jewelry, but more like golden blonde. And he was like almost shone like the sun, and I did not get a sense that it was bald or that it was Freyr. I mean, I know Freyr, so it definitely wasn't Freyr, because it was a god that it felt like. At first, I wasn't even sure if it was God, but it felt like it was someone that was disappointed because I wasn't seeing how beautiful they were. Like, somehow the jewelry and wealth was connected to them, and somehow this whole machine was connected to them. And they had two small people. At first, I thought they were children, and then the more I think of it, I'm not even sure if they were children, but a male and female with them. And they were just as blonde as the gentleman was, but they didn't glow or anything. So at first I felt he was competing for these children so that he could win them prizes. And I just wanted to play and have fun. I'm like, if you want to make his competition, fine, but I'm just playing to have fun. You do what you want. And there was a figure that somehow got inside the machine, and it felt like parents, but it wasn't quite my parents, if that makes any sense. They were benevolent. And the father figure had gotten inside the machine, and he'd got me this huge Raggedy Ann and huge Raggedy Andy doll. I mean, they were like ridiculous huge. And, like kind of like the size of the Meowth I have, or even bigger. If you've never seen my Meowth, he's big. And, he was smiling at me. He was so proud. And I was like, I really don't want... And he almost looked like a doll figure himself, too. Like he would have been the father of those two figures. And I almost was like, I don't want to win that way. That's not honorable. But then I'm like, you know what? He loves me so much. I'll accept the gifts. I'll accept them. If, this is competition now, and he wants to help, I'll accept the gifts to win. I'm not a fool. Apparently this was perfectly acceptable. People could go in the machine and just pick stuff up for you. So it went that far, and then I can't remember, like, if I don't think the dream resolved itself. I think I woke up. And I woke up and I'm like talking to Loki. I'm like, was that you? He's like, And I'm like, seriously, Loki, what was this dream all about? And he's like, sometimes dreams are dreams. So I'm like, yeah, but this blonde guy that glowed, like really like the sun, shone like the sun, and he kind of like was associated with the wealth or the jewelry. I'm not sure what that association meant. Sometimes it can mean like beauty, or it can mean gold, or it can mean riches, or it could mean enlightenment for all I know. And then somehow he had to do with all this other stuff, like the dolls, like whether they were clockwork or animatronic or whatever they actually were, or magic or puppets or whatever. And I'm like, there's so many gods you could attribute that to. Like if they were a chorus, it's Apollo. If they were clockwork dolls, it's Hephaestus, and we work together. So, I doubt he would appear as this blonde glowing man, because I've never seen him like that. Not that he couldn't, but... And this god was majorly annoyed, because I got the sense it was a god after the dream, that I was not paying attention. And I'm like, okay. It could have been Apollo, maybe Apollo. And then I'm listening to a creepypasta, and it's about Hall & Oates. Well, not actually Hall & Oates, but it has their music in it. And it revolves around the song Private Eyes. And I'm, yeah! And it just, like, it was, something told me, it's like, that song is from that god in that dream. Now you figure this out. And I went, and I played this song a couple times. I'm like, is it Apollo? I thought, like, Loki told me that was him having a go at me. Is it? I don't know. So I like lit incense, and I actually was saying, like, I'm kind of sorry, Loki, this is kind of awkward, but I'm lighting incense. Loki's like, I know. And I was like, I don't even know if this is Apollo, but whoever it was in the dream here, have some incense. I don't know. And so, yeah, that's where I am right now with that dream. It could have just been my brain sorting out me not liking the, you know, if someone is in a game and they're a fair opponent, that's one thing. But if they're lurching around, they're kind of sad. I'd rather just, walk around them and not fight them. And this game gives you no choice. If you run from an enemy, they don't like just have like a set spawn point and then chase you for a little distance. They will just keep coming after you. If Resident Evil 7 taught us anything, they will actually like start to pile up. If you ran from everything in this game, you'd have like 50 characters chasing you. So you really don't have a choice about the fight. So maybe it was just my mind saying, here's the happy version, even though it looked like nothing from Bendy, but here's the happy version. But something told me no, it was actually a message. Just God went to this trouble of making this stream because he knows you like the boardwalk. I mean, it was like the boardwalk, so it felt like the boardwalk at like Cape May, maybe. But then again, I was playing a game last night, so maybe that's all it was. But it felt like he was trying to tell me something. I know sometimes gods will pick associations they're not known for because they know the emotional context through you. So it was like trying to communicate really hard. He was trying to tell me like something to do with Cape May and the boardwalk and playing these games and entertainment maybe from these games and enjoyment from these games, and music's a big part of it. And it feels like when you're a child, it feels like you're winning treasure. It can be like the chunkiest thing on earth, and it feels like you're winning treasure. So it was, I don't know, I have to sit down with that one and try to figure out what it meant. But oh, and interestingly enough, I missed the flea market, the last flea market. I got up, I actually realized in time this time to go, and I was like, you know what, I actually don't feel like going. I don't. I'm just not gonna go. I went to one, tried to go to the second one, and that one had been canceled. And then after that, I missed one, and then this is the final one, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm done. If it would like go to 5, I would go, but it was just going to 3, and it was like around 1 when I realized it, and I was like, I just don't feel like going. So yeah. I don't know. If you guys have any insights, put them below. I really did not feel like it was braggy or it was, bolder. And again, I know Freyr, we get along well, so it wasn't Freyr, and it did not have that Norse, Germanic, Swedish, whatever you want to call it, energy. It had more Greek. I'm beautiful, I'm classical, I'm logical and ordered. And I don't know. I don't know. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.